Welcome. I find myself in a quiet place, where the world softens and the night gently carries me toward rest. There is no sharp edge to anything here, only a slow unfolding, like a breath taken without effort. Tonight, I drift toward a shoreline touched by moonlight. A place I do not remember arriving at, yet it feels familiar. Time moves differently here. It does not pull or push, it simply lingers, allowing everything to exist as it is. I walk slowly without destination. The air is calm and even the wind seems to pause as if it too is resting. This is not a story I need to follow. There is nothing I must understand or hold on to, only a gentle journey, one that carries me forward at its own quiet pace. And somewhere along this shore, beneath the steady golden moon, I sense that something is already moving. I pause for a moment and let myself arrive more fully. My feet are bare against the sand, and I can feel the cool, damp surface beneath me. It gives slightly with each shift of my weight, soft and steady, holding me without resistance. There is something comforting in that quiet support, something that asks nothing in return. I take a slow step forward. The sand presses gently between my toes, smooth in some places, faintly textured in others where the tide has passed. Each step leaves a soft impression behind me. And yet, even as I notice it, I know the ocean will come and quietly smooth it away. The air rests lightly against my skin. It is neither warm nor cold, just present. Like a calm hand that does not move but remains, I notice how still everything feels. As if the night itself is breathing slowly, and I have stepped into that rhythm. I draw in a long, unhurried breath. The scent of salt reaches me first, clean and open, filling my chest with a quiet clarity. Beneath it there is something softer. A faint sweetness carried from the distant grasses beyond the dunes. The two blend together, simple, natural, grounding. For a moment, I hold that breath, and then I let it go. As I exhale, I feel something loosen. My shoulders drop slightly. The quiet tension I didn't notice before begins to fade. Thoughts that once felt close and persistent now drift a little farther away, like distant shapes dissolving into the dark. Nothing pulls at me here. Nothing asks me to hurry or to become anything more than I already am. The night does not expect. It does not measure. It simply waits, patient and steady. I continue walking, slowly, without direction. The shoreline stretches endlessly beside me, the edge between land and water gently shifting with each breath of the sea. I can hear it now more clearly. The soft rhythm of the waves arriving and retreating, never the same yet always familiar. The sound settles somewhere deep within me. My breathing begins to follow it. Without effort, without thought. In and out. Step and pause. Everything begins to move together, quietly, naturally. I realize I am no longer just observing this place. I am part of it. Not separate, not outside, but within the same slow rhythm. The same quiet unfolding. And as I continue forward, there is a sense that the night is gently opening, revealing itself not all at once, but in soft layers, waiting for me to notice only as much as I need. I lift my gaze slowly, and the sky opens above me. It is deep, vast, a quiet velvet blue that stretches farther than I can follow. Countless small stars are scattered across it, each one distant, steady, softly glowing without urgency. They do not compete for attention. They simply exist, holding their place in the stillness. For a moment I stand there, looking upward, and it feels as though the sky is not above me but around me. Wide and endless, gently holding everything within it. And then, my eyes settle lower. There, near the horizon, the moon hangs. Full, golden, calm. Its light is soft yet certain. Not bright in a sharp way, but warm, diffused. Like something remembered rather than seen for the first time. It does not rush across the sky. It rests there, as if it has all the time it could ever need. The light reaches the ocean, and becomes something else. A long, trembling path stretches across the surface of the water, shimmering gently with each small movement of the waves. It is not still, not fixed, but alive in its own quiet way, shifting, breaking, returning again. I take a few slow steps closer to the water's edge. The sound of the sea becomes clearer now. Each wave arrives with a soft presence, touching the shore, then slipping back again. There is no force in it, no urgency. Only a steady rhythm that continues without beginning or end. I watch as the water reaches forward, just enough to brush the sand near my feet, then retreats, leaving behind a thin, reflective surface that mirrors the moon for a brief moment, before fading back into the darker tones of the shore. Everything here moves slowly. Even the tide, even the light, even the passage of time itself. I notice how the horizon blurs, where the ocean meets the sky. There is no clear line separating them. Only a gradual blending, as if the two have quietly agreed not to be distinct. The air carries a faint coolness now, softer than before, settling gently against my skin. I breathe it in, and it feels deeper this time. Not just a breath, but a quiet connection. As though something within me recognizes this place. Not as new, but as something always known, always waiting. The stars continue their silent watch. The moon holds its steady glow. And the sea keeps breathing. I remain there, between sky and water, between light and darkness, feeling the quiet weight of the moment, not heavy, but full. And in that fullness, there is nothing missing. Nothing needed. Only this, unfolding, exactly as it is. I remain near the water's edge, and begin to notice how this place holds its own quiet rhythm. one that exists beyond this moment, beyond the stillness of the night. Even here, where everything feels slowed, there is a sense that this shoreline has known many different breaths of time. I imagine it during the day. The same stretch of sand, warmed by sunlight, carrying a different kind of presence. The air would move more freely then. The wind passing over the dunes, bending the tall grasses in soft waves of motion. The ocean too would shift, its surface brighter, more open, reflecting the sky in restless fragments of light. I can almost hear it. The distant calls of gulls, echoing softly above the water. Their voices carried by the wind. The steady pull of the tide would feel more defined, more purposeful, as if the sea were speaking in clearer tones. And along this same shoreline, there would be movement. Footsteps pressing into the sand. Voices carried in quiet conversation. Figures passing by without staying. Nothing permanent. Only moments touching the edge of the sea before continuing on. The sand would hold their traces for a while, then let them go. I picture the warmth of it beneath bare feet, the way it would shift more loosely, grains sliding over one another, dry and light, so different from the cool, damp ground beneath me now. But as I stand here, in the deep quiet of night, all of that feels distant, softened. The energy of the day has settled, like something gently placed down and left to rest. The wind no longer moves with the same freedom. The voices are gone. The passing figures have disappeared into memory, leaving no weight behind. Now, the shoreline belongs to stillness. No sound but the ocean's slow breath. No movement but the tide, arriving, retreating, without effort. Even the dunes seem to rest, their shapes softened by shadow. Their edges no longer sharp but blended into the darkness. The grasses stand quietly, no longer bending, simply existing as they are. There is nothing here that asks to be changed. Nothing that needs to be completed. The shore does not hold on to the day, and it does not reach for what will come next. It remains steady, patient, allowing each moment to pass through it without resistance. I feel that quiet acceptance settling around me. It does not speak, but it is clear. Here, everything is enough. The sand beneath me, the air against my skin, the sound of the sea repeating its endless rhythm. I take another slow breath and let it move through me just as freely. There is no difference now between what I imagine and what I feel. The past has softened. The future has not yet arrived. Only this quiet presence remains, stretching gently in all directions, holding me within it. And I realize that this place does not belong to any one time. It simply exists, waiting whenever it is needed, unchanged, steady, and always ready to receive. As I continue along the shoreline, I begin to notice that I am not entirely alone here. At first, it is only a feeling, a soft awareness that moves through me without urgency. Nothing shifts suddenly. Nothing breaks the calm. And yet, something is present, moving within the same quiet rhythm as the sea. I slow my steps, not out of caution, but to listen more closely. The waves continue, steady and familiar. And then, beneath that gentle sound, something else begins to take shape. A softer rhythm, almost blending into the tide. A quiet pattern of movement, step, pause, step. I lift my gaze slightly, letting my eyes adjust to the soft layers of moonlight and shadow. And there, along the edge where the water meets the sand, I see them. The horses. They move together, not in a line. Not tightly gathered, but close enough to feel connected. A small group, steady, unhurried, as if they have always been part of this place. Their shapes are softened by the night, yet clear enough to follow. One moves slightly ahead. Its coat a pale gray that reflects the moonlight in gentle tones. Another follows, darker, almost blending into the deeper shadows of the shore. Beside them, a white figure seems to hold its own quiet glow, as though the light rests more easily upon it. A warm chestnut walks a little farther from the water. Its presence calm, grounded, steady. And one more, marked with soft patterns across its coat, moves somewhere between them all. Neither leading nor following, simply existing within the group. They do not rush. They do not hesitate. Each step is placed with quiet certainty, as if guided by something deeper than thought. The sand shifts beneath their hooves, leaving faint impressions that mirror my own, only to be softened again by the slow return of the tide. The sound of the waves blends with their movement, until it becomes difficult to separate one from the other. They do not look toward me. There is no curiosity in their motion, no awareness that asks for attention. And yet, their presence does not feel distant. Feels shared. As though I have stepped into something that was already unfolding. Something that does not change because I am here, but gently includes me within it. I continue walking, slowly, keeping a quiet distance. Not following, not approaching. Only moving alongside, within the same space, the same rhythm. There is something calming in the way they move. No tension. No destination. Only a steady continuation, step by step, along the edge of land and water. The moonlight rests across their backs, tracing soft lines of light and shadow with each movement. Their forms shift gently, never sharp, always flowing, as though they belong as much to the night as to the shore itself. I notice how naturally they move together. Not directed, not controlled, but connected in a quiet, unspoken way. And in that connection, there is no need for sound. No need for anything more. Only presence, shared and steady, beneath the silent glow of the moon. I continue walking quietly, keeping the same gentle distance between myself and the horses. Their presence does not pull me closer, and it does not push me away. It simply exists, steady, constant, as if it has always been part of this shoreline. Their movement remains calm, but there is something within it that feels deeper. Not urgency, not strain, but a quiet persistence. Step, pause, step. Each motion flows into the next without effort, yet there is no hesitation. It is as though they are following something that cannot be seen, something that does not change, something that asks only for continuation. I watch the way their hooves meet the sand. Soft impressions form beneath them, then fade as the tide slowly reaches forward, smoothing the surface once again. Nothing remains for long. Not the shape of a step. Not the trace of a path. Only the rhythm continues. The sea breathes beside us, steady and endless. I feel it more clearly now. The quiet weight that exists even in a place like this. Not heavy in a way that presses down, but present, constant, woven into everything. The tide will always return. The waves will always find the shore. The night will deepen, then slowly give way to something else, only to return again. There is no stopping this movement. No moment that holds forever. And yet, nothing feels lost. The horses continue forward, as if they understand this without needing to think. They do not resist the passing of time. They do not try to hold on to where they have been. They move within it, with it, never against it. I begin to feel that same quiet truth within myself. There are things I have carried, thoughts that have lingered, moments that felt as though they needed to be held in place. But here, along this shoreline, none of that seems necessary. The sand does not keep the imprint of my steps. The water does not hold its shape. Everything changes, gently, continuously. And still, everything remains. I take a slow breath and let it move through me fully. In and out. My body softens a little more. The small tensions I didn't notice before begin to dissolve, like the edges of the waves fading into the shore. The horses move on, steady, unbroken. The moonlight follows them, resting softly along their backs, shifting with each step. There is no destination I can see. No clear beginning, no clear end. Only this quiet path, unfolding beneath their hooves. Just as the shoreline unfolds beneath my own feet, I realize they are not traveling to arrive. They are moving because movement itself is enough. And in that, there is something deeply calming. Something that does not ask for answers, or direction, or purpose beyond what is already here. I continue beside them, within the same slow rhythm. Not leading. Not following. Only moving, gently, along the edge of it all. Where land meets water. Where time passes, and yet, nothing feels rushed. The sound remains. The motion continues. And I let myself be carried within it, without resistance, without thought. Simply present, step by step. Breath by breath, beneath the quiet, endless night. Time begins to feel different here, softer, less defined. I am no longer certain how long I have been walking, or how far the shoreline has carried me. The sense of before and after fades gently, like distant footprints already smoothed by the tide. Only this moment remains. The waves continue their quiet rhythm, each one arriving, each one returning without interruption, without variation that asks to be noticed. The horses move in the same steady way. Step, pause, step. Their pace does not change. It does not quicken. It does not slow. It simply continues, as if time itself has settled into their movement. I find my own steps matching theirs, not by intention, but naturally. Step and breathe. Pause and release. The moon has shifted slightly, rising higher into the sky. Its light stretches across the ocean in a longer, softer path now, trembling gently with each small motion of the water. The reflection is never still. It breaks, reforms, shimmers, then breaks again. And yet, it remains. I watch it for a moment, noticing how it changes without ever truly disappearing. Something in that feels familiar. The thoughts that once moved through my mind now come and go in the same way. They rise, softly, without urgency, then fade, without resistance. Nothing holds. Nothing stays long enough to become heavy. The horizon remains blurred, where the sea meets the sky. There is no clear boundary between them. Only a quiet blending, a gentle merging, where one becomes the other without needing to be separate. I feel that same blending within myself. The sense of being a part, of standing outside this place, begins to dissolve. I'm no longer watching the waves. I am moving with them. I am no longer observing the horses. I am sharing the same slow rhythm. Even the sound feels as though it comes from within me as much as from the sea. The air has grown slightly cooler, but it does not disturb me. It settles softly against my skin, grounding me more deeply into the moment. My breath deepens again, slower now, fuller. In and out. Each breath stretches gently, without effort, without thought. The night does not change suddenly. It does not shift in ways that demand attention. It unfolds, slowly, almost imperceptibly, like a long exhale that never quite ends. The horses continue. The waves continue. The light continues. And I realize nothing here begins. Nothing here ends. There is no point where this moment starts, and no place where it must finish. Everything exists in a quiet state of continuation. A steady flow, without interruption, without conclusion. I take another step and feel it settle softly into the sand. The ground holds me just as it holds everything else. There is no need to mark this moment. No need to remember it or to hold on to it. It is already complete simply by existing. And so I continue within this gentle passage of time, carried forward without effort, without direction, only moving as everything moves, quietly, endlessly, beneath the calm and watchful light of the moon. For a moment, I feel something shift, not around me but within. It is subtle, almost unnoticeable at first, like the smallest change in the rhythm of breath. Nothing in the landscape has altered. The sea continues its soft, endless motion. The horses still move beside the water, step, pause, step. And yet, there is a quiet sense that I am no longer separate from any of it. I'm not standing here watching. I am within it. My breath falls into the same pattern as the tide, rising gently, then releasing without effort. My steps follow the same unhurried rhythm as the horses, steady, grounded, without intention. There is no need to think about where I am going. No need to understand what this moment means. It simply is. I notice my hands relaxed at my sides. No tension left in them. My shoulders feel lighter now, as if something I had been carrying has quietly slipped away without asking. Even my thoughts, once moving in small, constant patterns, have softened. They drift now like the faint clouds above. Slow, weightless, without needing to gather or stay. Nothing holds. Nothing presses. Everything moves, and in moving finds its own stillness. One of the horses shifts slightly. Not a sudden movement, not a break in rhythm, but a small, natural change. Its head turns. Just a little, as if noticing something carried in the air. For a moment, I feel its awareness. Not directed at me, not focused, but present. It does not look directly into my eyes. And yet, it feels like a quiet acknowledgement. A shared understanding. Without form, without words. There is no need for recognition. No need to be seen or known. Only the soft connection. Existing briefly, then fading back into the steady rhythm of movement. The horse returns its gaze forward, continuing along the shoreline as it always has. Step, pause, step. Nothing has changed. And yet, something feels more complete. I take a slow breath, deeper than before. And the air fills my chest, cool, calm, carrying the quiet scent of the sea. Oh, everything softens again. My body feels heavier now, not with tension, but with rest. As if I could stop walking and simply remain here without needing anything more. But still, I continue. Not because I must, but because the movement itself feels natural. Like breathing, like the tide. The fireflies begin to appear near the dunes. Small points of golden light, flickering softly, rising and falling in no fixed pattern. They do not illuminate the night, only touch it gently, like quiet signals, appearing, fading, then returning again. Their glow is warm, delicate, never bright. I watch them for a moment, feeling their slow rhythm blend with everything else. Nothing competes for attention here. Not the light, not the sound, not the movement. Everything exists side by side in quiet balance. I feel myself settling even deeper into that balance. No resistance, no separation, only presence. The sea breathes. The horses move. The fireflies flicker. And I simply am within it all. Held gently, without effort, without thought, in a moment that asks nothing and gives everything in return. The night begins to deepen, not in a sudden way, but slowly, like a quiet veil settling over everything. I feel it first in the air. It grows softer, heavier in the gentlest sense, as if it is inviting everything to slow even more. The coolness becomes slightly more present against my skin. Not sharp, not uncomfortable. Just enough to remind me of the stillness that surrounds me. I take another slow breath. And the air feels thicker now. Calm, steady, filling me without effort. My body releases again, deeper this time. The movement around me begins to soften. The horses continue along the shoreline, but their steps seem lighter now, quieter, almost blending into the sound of the sea itself. Step, pause, step. The rhythm remains, but it no longer stands apart. It becomes part of the waves. The two sounds merge, until I can no longer tell where one ends and the other begins. The fireflies drift a little closer. Their small golden lights flicker slowly, rising and falling near the dunes, then hovering for a moment as if resting in the air. Some move toward the edge of the shore, their glow reflecting faintly on the damp sand before fading again. Nothing is bright. Nothing demands to be seen. Everything glows just enough to be felt. I notice how my steps have slowed. Without choosing to, I am moving more gently now, almost as if the ground itself is guiding me to soften. My feet press into the sand with less weight, each step quieter than the last. Even the impressions I leave feel lighter, as though they will disappear more quickly, carried away by the next breath of the tide. The moon has risen higher still. Its light is softer now, more diffused, spreading across the ocean in a wider, calmer reflection. The shimmering path no longer feels like something to follow, but something to rest within. I find myself looking at it, not searching, not focusing, just allowing it to be. My eyes begin to relax. The edges of everything soften slightly. The horizon blurs even more. the sea and sky blending into one continuous space. There is no distance anymore, only depth. The sound continues. My breathing follows it completely now, and slow and full. Up, long and gentle. Each breath carries me deeper into stillness. My shoulders drop further, my arms feel heavier at my sides. My entire body beginning to settle, as if gravity itself has softened, allowing me to rest more fully within it. The horses move farther along the shoreline. Their forms become less defined, fading slowly into the quiet distance. I can still see them, but only just. Their shapes blending into the moonlit haze. Their movement becoming part of the night itself. Step, pause, step. Then softer. Then quieter. Until even that rhythm becomes something I feel more than hear. The fireflies drift higher now. Their glow scattered gently across the darkness, like small echoes of the stars above. Everything slows. Everything softens. Nothing holds me here, and yet, I feel completely held. I take one more slow breath, and let it go, allowing my body, my thoughts, my awareness to sink gently into the quiet rhythm that remains, steady, endless, and softly carrying me toward rest. I continue to walk, though now it feels less like movement and more like drifting. My steps are slower, softer, almost weightless. The sand beneath my feet still holds me, but gently, as if it no longer needs to press upward to support me. The shoreline stretches on, unchanged, familiar, steady. The sea continues its quiet breath. Nothing interrupts it. Nothing needs to. The horses are farther now. Their forms have softened into the distance, barely separate from the night that surrounds them. I can still sense their presence, the quiet rhythm of their movement, but it is no longer something I follow with my eyes. Feels absorbed, as if they have become part of the shoreline itself, part of the same slow, endless motion. I do not feel their absence, only a gentle continuation. The moon remains above, calm, steady, watching without effort. Its light rests across the ocean, across the sand, across everything without choosing where to fall. It does not need to. It simply is. I notice how little I need now. No direction. No thought. No reason to move, and yet I do. Carried by the same quiet rhythm that has been guiding everything from the beginning. The waves arrive and retreat. The sound is softer now, or perhaps I am simply deeper within it. My breathing has slowed even more. In and out. Each breath longer than the last. Stretching gently, without effort, without pause. My body feels heavier, but in a peaceful way. As if it is settling into rest rather than holding itself upright. Even my awareness feels different. Less focused. Less defined. The edges of things no longer need to be clear. The line between the sea and the sky has almost disappeared entirely, blending into a single, endless depth of soft blue and silver. The shoreline remains, but it feels less like a place, and more like a presence, something that does not begin, and does not end. I slow even more, until my steps nearly stop. Not because I choose to stop, but because movement itself begins to feel unnecessary. I stand there, quietly, without effort. The sea continues. The moon continues. The night continues. Nothing waits for me to do anything. Nothing asks me to stay or to leave. Everything simply allows. I take a soft breath in. The scent of salt is faint now, almost distant, like something remembered rather than experienced. And as I breathe out, I feel everything soften even further. There is no story to finish here. No moment that needs to be completed. The shoreline does not change because I am here. It does not hold on to me, and it does not release me. It simply continues, just as it always has. The horses are no longer visible. The fireflies have drifted higher. Their glow faint, scattered, blending with the stars. Even the sound of the waves feels more distant, though I know it is still there, steady, endless. I remain, but without effort, without thought, without the need to be anywhere else. And in this quiet stillness, I realize nothing has ended. Nothing is missing. Everything continues, gently, beyond what I can see, beyond what I can follow. Carrying on, in the same calm rhythm. As if the story itself has simply moved farther along the shore. Becoming part of the night. Just out of sight, but never truly gone. I remain here, quietly, without effort. The air feels soft around me, almost like a gentle embrace that does not hold, yet never leaves. The sound of the sea is distant now, but still present, like a slow heartbeat beneath everything. I take one final slow breath in. Calm, steady, full. And as I breathe out, I let the day fade completely. There is nothing left to carry. Nothing left to follow. Only this soft stillness, this quiet space holding me gently. My body feels heavy now, ready to rest. My thoughts have drifted far, dissolving into the night. And somewhere beyond sight, the shoreline continues. The sea breathes. The horses move. But I no longer need to follow. I can rest here, safe, calm, and carried by the quiet rhythm of everything that simply is. Good night. Thank you for staying with me as we drifted along the quiet shoreline. where the rhythm of hooves met the gentle hush of the sea, and the night unfolded in soft silvery shades under the moon. If this journey alongside the midnight horses brought you a sense of calm, you're always welcome to like and subscribe for more soothing stories to accompany your evenings. Sleep deeply. Keep a quiet sense of wonder, and let the steady, unhurried gallop carry you into peaceful, dream-filled rest.